Hey sisters, and welcome to the show. This episode is brought to you by Pure Spectrum CBD. Sirak and I have been taking CBD and we are loving it.
I'm holding the tincture right now. Tallene, can you open your mouth, please?
Now?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a dosage. Now, keep it there for 60 seconds. While she does that, let me tell you the great benefits of CBD for PCOS. Studies show it reduces cortisol, improves insulin sensitivity, reduces inflammation. You can go to purespectrumcbd.com now to order and use the code THESISTERHOOD, one word, at checkout for 20% off. Now, Tallene, hold it for 30 seconds longer while the sisters enjoy the show.
Welcome to A Cyster Her Mister, a podcast where we show you the real behind the scenes of how we balance the PCOS lifestyle in our marriage, gluten and dairy free. I'm Tallene, your fellow sister and registered dietitian.
And I'm Sirak, husband, engineer, and PCOS personal trainer. We're going to make PCOS a little less overwhelming and a lot more fun. So you know that whole stereotype that the guy forgets the day of the anniversary, he thinks it's Tuesday, but it's Wednesday. Just wanted to be known that this time, that was Tallene.
The wife.
I mean, I'm not going to blame it on you, babe, because we both thought it was the 27th, but it was actually
That's
the 26th.
True. We both thought the wrong date.
Yeah.
It's not all my fault. But I led the ship. I was like convinced.
You were the captain that led me into the docks blind.
I was like, it's the 27th. Yeah, and you took that day off. And I was like planning everything out. And then we look at our wedding invitation. It says 26th.
Yeah.
I mixed it up because our engagement was May 27th.
And then the year later was the wedding was May 26th. So it's just the same like 2 days.
So annoying.
Yeah. But it's okay. We still, we can still have fun with it.
I'm embarrassed.
Yeah. I mean, when you guys listen to this, it'll be all done. But our anniversary is basically in 2 days. And, it's tomorrow technically. But I'm taking the day off in 2 days instead.
Yeah.
So we could kind of complete the patio.
What's happening?
For those that haven't seen it, we did the whole patio. Because obviously, we can't really go anywhere. It's, quarantine times and all that jazz. So we don't want to go to the beaches, even though they're open, I think, starting now.
I think so.
And we don't want to really, drive and, sleep somewhere, like a hotel or something. So we just say, you know what, let's stay home this time and do something else. So we did the whole patio. We put some planter boxes.
It looks so beautiful. We're looking at them right now. I'll show them all in my stories over and over again because we have this succulent shelf thing going on. Sirak nailed planter boxes along the rail. Yeah. It's gorgeous.
But then one of our neighbors told us, literally
just now,
20 minutes before we started the podcast, we were outside just admiring our work because we just did it yesterday. We were admiring it, and then the guy's like, "Oh, I love him." I couldn't even understand what he was saying.
He's like, I wish I could do one, but the association doesn't allow you to put flower boxes on the rail. It's a hazard or something.
And then he said, though, but don't worry, they don't really care anymore. And they used to care, but now they really don't say much. Because we've seen other people have them. That's why we did it. So
3 other people have them.
Hopefully they don't get taken out. If they do,
we're always breaking
I will
rules.
put up a fight to the Supreme Court.
For our flower boxes.
The justice system will know. The circuit courts. I'm trying to say everything I learned in poli-sci. But one of them has herbs and stuff. We put strawberries, we put kale, we put lettuce and
cucumber,
basil and cilantro, things like that. It's so cool.
I can't wait to see what it I'm actually not very hopeful that it's gonna work because I feel like I'm gonna kill the cucumber plant. The strawberry plant already has strawberries on it. It's working out. But I'm looking at the cucumber plant. I'm like, I don't know how to grow cucumber.
Well, you don't have to do anything. You just have to give it water.
What if I give it too much?
Let me just take care of that, please.
Okay.
I don't know.
My supportive husband.
Tallene is too scared to give it water, so she gives it too little water. And then I'm scared to give it too little, so I give it too much. So
we balance each other out. Some weeks I water him. Some weeks you water him. Do we know what we're doing? Not really.
That's okay. So today's episode, though, is going to be, you guys here are, the way we do our life, our marriage, and our relationship, kind of linking into our episode today, basically explaining PCOS to your partner, to your loved one, basically, when you're with that person, maybe when you just started dating, maybe you still haven't established your relationship yet, so you just started dating somebody, or maybe even you're looking to date somebody. This is the episode for you.
Or maybe you have a partner, you just found out you have PCOS and you don't know how to turn to them and say you have PCOS.
Yeah.
Let's tell them how I told you I have PCOS. I feel like this is an inspiring story.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Okay. Did I tell you on the first date? I can't remember if I told you that or that I was gluten and dairy free.
You told me about gluten, dairy free, and there was like you were doing it for like your body and stuff, like for different reasons, but you didn't say PCOS back then.
Okay.
First date, I should say.
I'm sure I told you like second, third date.
Yeah. No, I remember you told me early on, but it wasn't probably the first date. You told me like in waves.
Yeah.
Like you gave me more information, so I kind of like was able to take it more and more.
So basically, me and Sirak, we met on Tinder. I'm sure you've heard, in another intro, in another podcast, how we met on Tinder and we went on our first date. And on that first date, he ordered like a gluten and dairy free drink for me. And
dairy free part is not hard. It's a gluten free.
Yeah, the vodka was like
gluten
free.
When it comes to alcohol.
Our first date, you were already supportive, and Sirak already ate like gluten-free bread.
Yeah.
When we met,
we had like the same kind of mindset because I had like listened to research about gluten and dairy free and the kinds of different inflammation and different things it can cause. But it was never about PCOS. It was just more about general health. And then Colleen told me about gluten dairy free, and like it piqued my interest.
Yeah.
And that's why from that first date I was like,
Yeah. So it was a little bit easier for us because you were already into health. Yeah. But when I presented PCOS to you, or anyone for that matter, I always present it in a way that's like, I have PCOS. This is how I live my life so that I can prevent it from going out of control. And I try, and of course, many of you, like if you're recently diagnosed, you still haven't implemented certain things to get it under control, but still like you can just coming off bold about it is what I did. Confident, like, this is me, I'm handling my life. I don't need you to like swoop in and like do it all for me. I don't really need to like lean on you with my full weight. Like I can bear this myself. But if you're going to be supportive, this can be a thing we both do, whether he eats gluten and dairy free or he doesn't. He doesn't have to, but he does.
I'm here. I just eat gluten dairy free just for health benefits, but I'm here to support you, and that's like a good thing to like consider too. Like usually when you're meeting somebody and like, or you have a relationship, they're there to support you, but it's you there by yourself that you have to make sure you're strong and like moving forward with your PCOS by managing it and taking care of it. Like you're your first line of like responsibility. Like you have to hold yourself accountable in order to get support from your loved one, or else they won't know how or like the best way to support you if you don't show a good example of you doing it.
You said it, boo. And that's what we're going to talk about in this podcast. The 4 tips on how to get. But that was like
basically what you were going at, right? Like you were saying that like when you tell them, you're not doing it in such a way where like you're asking them for like, I need help.
So that they.
So I just saw a wasp going back to the same location.
Stay focused.
Well, just 2 weeks ago, there 3 wasps started a nest on top of our front door, and then like we had to get it removed. So I'm just looking. There's a wasp, like we're at the same location.
The 4 tips on how to get your partner on board is what we're gonna talk about, because like Sirak was just saying before the wasp came, you have to present it in a confident way, and show them that you are trying to help yourself, your health, and so on. And when they join, they can hop on board if they want to, and if they don't, it's fine. It's up to you if you want to stay with them. Someone sent this really sweet message about our story. She's like, Katie Whitaker says, "Hi, I'd just like to say how nice it is to hear a story so similar to mine. I met my current partner of 4 years on Tinder, like us. Before our first date, I told him about my PCOS because my hair was bad. I explained it and he came to some appointments, and now he understands it all. Thank you for sharing your story." Oh my gosh, that's so nice.
Yeah. Very.
She really like was open about it, and then he turned out to be receptive like right away. That's great.
Yeah, and that's just awesome. Like Ty mentioned, it goes to show that there is like, of course you're gonna feel a little bit of nervousness when you tell somebody, but you shouldn't have any fear if that person really likes you and is already like willing to like, do things for you. They're gonna appreciate you telling them things.
Yeah, totally. Sometimes guys don't appreciate it. And we'll also give you some tips on what to do if the guy or a girl, your partner isn't on board with your PCOS.
Yes.
So before we give you the tips, I want to share with you my elevator speech for telling people about PCOS.
What is elevator?
Elevator speech is like not a script, like obviously you don't memorize it word for word, but it's like 3 or 4 sentences about your PCOS, about your job, about whatever it is that people typically ask you, so that you can explain it thoroughly in like 4 sentences.
Oh, it's like
your
something you would
pre-prepared speech.
Oh, okay, like
practice.
some statement or some couple of like sentences to say when you're in a group of friends or like some new people you have to explain it to.
Yeah.
I see. Okay,
And
elevator speech.
I'm
not giving no speech in the elevator.
I don't know. I think they call it elevator speech because if you're in an elevator and someone asks you about something, you have like 3 minutes in it or like 2 minutes in an elevator to explain it. You know
I see. Okay,
so
sounds fair.
This is my elevator speech to close family and friends, because when you talk to them about it, this can help lighten the pressure and the emotional load that PCOS can have on you. Okay, and try to come up with your own, because this will help you talk.
Okay.
I have PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and it's an endocrine disorder, which means that my hormones are out of balance and my metabolism works differently. So it causes inflammation and affects most of my body's systems, including blood sugar regulation, which makes it easy to gain weight and hard to lose weight. But PCOS is a lifelong condition, but I can make diet and lifestyle changes like blank. So I would say like going gluten and dairy free, that will help me manage my symptoms and keep them at bay. Okay, now you know.
That's simple and direct.
Yeah. This is who I am. This is what's happening.
Yeah, I like that.
If you have any more questions, we can get off the elevator and I'll continue talking to you about it.
If they're interested and they want to learn more about it, you can dive deeper into. But that's a great way to start and great way to like tell anybody, if it's a family person or if it's like somebody you're dating, that's a good way to start.
Yeah. And I really do this. Like I summarize it in 3 sentences and I wrap it up, and then they almost don't have anything to say back because they're like, oh, okay. And
you have to think about that person's like attention span too. Usually when someone asks you a question, they don't want to like hear this whole 10-minute rant about
emotional, oh, my life.
They're just like curious. It's a natural conversation. So you don't have to feel like you have to give that whole 10-minute conversation. If you give them just this short, like 15-20 second statement, then that person's gonna be like, oh, okay, thank you for explaining that to me. And then maybe in like a different conversation a week later, that person might ask you because they're interested to learn more.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And if you do the self work, like all of these tips we give you, if you like start thinking of PCOS differently, when somebody asks you about it, you can give this type of brief answer rather than going into a long emotional tangent, which of course, like you can go on a long emotional tangent with someone if you need support and so on, but not always. Like sometimes you're just presenting it to somebody and you want to do it confidently so that they're on board with you.
Yeah.
So how do you do that, babe? Let's start with the 4 tips.
Yeah.
How do you present PCOS so someone's on board? Tip number 1, be clear. Okay, so what does that mean? Tell them what you need help with, what they can do. I need help with managing stress or eating gluten and dairy free. And then be specific. Like, don't just say that and then like, okay, I need help. No, please don't bring me bagels from work, or don't bring me cupcakes for fun.
Don't bring
Show
the
your
leftover
love
stuff
in a different way.
Yeah.
Oh, like it's our anniversary. Please, like, don't buy me a cake. Let's get gluten and dairy free snacks, like something. Tell them specifically, because if you don't, then the
they don't know what to do. They're guessing. Yeah. I really like this first tip.
Frustration if you're not clear.
Yes, the first tip I like a lot, because be clear, because that person, like, I mean, in my situation, Talian told me so many things at first. Not at first. Like during our first 6 months, that when we were living together, in our marriage, I kind of knew like how she needed support. Whereas like if she hadn't told me like a lot of different things, then or like if we didn't talk about them, I would not know where to start.
Yeah.
So you have to be clear and tell them like where you struggle the most with. Like maybe you struggle with sleeping, so tell your partner or your loved one that you just started dating, oh, I'm not able to sleep that good at night. That way they know. So now they know that they should make sure that you're very stress-free at night. Maybe they'll
Listen
avoid
to the sleep podcast and get some ideas to how to help you for sleep.
Exactly. Maybe they'll avoid bringing up stressful things to you at night because they know you have a hard time sleeping.
Oh yeah,
you know,
that's
like,
a good point.
Yeah, or maybe they know you have a hard time with sweets, and like Talin said, oh, please don't bring me bagels or cookies from work. You know, like when there's a leftover bunch left, it always happens.
Yeah. Or
if they know that, they won't do things like that, and you won't get annoyed, and that way it's better for your relationship too.
Yeah, being clear is so important, and the more you learn about PCOS and the things you can do, the more clear you can be. So you can even say something like, I have really bad cravings, and eating a high protein breakfast will help me. So when you wake up and make yourself breakfast, can you like also make mine or something? If your partner's the one that makes breakfast, you can be like, can you make me a protein shake? And then like you make lunch and take turns, whatever. Yeah. But be specific.
Yeah, and like even like with mood swings, if you explain that like maybe mood swings happen because of hormonal issues and things are out of balance, and because your insulin, like blood sugar, all these things are happening, they will be more understanding, and they won't take you like make it into a bigger thing. Take it personally, because they know you're just going through a lot of things.
Yeah. And there's a lot of self-work that goes into mood issues. You have to do your best to take care of yourself as well. And then that person will also take care of you because you're taking care of them. So when you're having a mood swing, they're not like, oh, this is so frustrating. She's not doing anything to help herself, and now she's having a mood swing. Like, that sucks. That's frustrating for someone. Yeah.
Tip number 2, decide that you're worthy.
Yes. In order to really thrive with PCOS, you have to have a mindset shift, okay? And basically, you're about to engage in extreme self-care. Like, you're going to change the way you eat, maybe. You're going to change the way you sleep, the way you live your day-to-day life so that your hormones are supported. There's a lot of self-care that goes on. And when you come from a place of self-care rather than... like, I have to do this, I have to eat gluten and dairy, and then you accidentally eat gluten, and then you're mad. Like, it's not coming from a place of self-care if that's how you're approaching it. If you accidentally eat gluten, but this is a self-care journey, you're more likely to move on from it and just be like, that's okay, I'm doing my best. Yeah. Your mindset is different. So when you have that type of mindset, that makes somebody else come on board with you and also have that type of mind and want to care for you as well, because you care about yourself.
Yeah. If they're seeing the opposite from you, then that's how they're gonna treat your PCOS as well. If they see that maybe like you're like nervous and like maybe like panicky, or maybe you're not doing enough to take care of it because you just don't feel like you can do enough, then they're gonna be the same way, like unmotivated to help you with it, or maybe they're gonna feel like it's not important because they don't think it's you're making it look important for different reasons. So it's just like you want to show how important it is to you. Show that you're really like caring about taking care of yourself, so that they care the same way back. And like have the same positivity. It
can go as far as saying, I have to meditate every night before I sleep. Like, don't let me, please help me make sure that I meditate every night before I sleep. And so this is you putting your best foot forward and deciding like, this is something that's going to help me sleep. And now this partner of yours is going to be more like, you know what, like, it's working for her. Let me be supportive. So it starts with you, and then they join. Basically. Okay, number 3, be grateful. So remember to thank your partner when, he or she is helping you. Like, it's not one-sided. We need extreme self-care, like a lot of support, diet changes, lifestyle, things like that. But, that's a lot, like, compared to you. I feel like I have more. I mean, you do a lot of self-care too. Do you get what I'm saying by be grateful? Like,
Of course.
Turn around, say thank you, like for going out of your way and getting me gluten-free muffins, even though they're not dairy-free. Like even if you
For
forgot.
trying.
Yeah, for trying.
Yeah. And like being grateful is like a general thing in life. I feel like,
In life.
you know, when someone goes out their way or even just does something for you, you always want to say thank you or be grateful because, you know, like even us, like when we get sisters come to us and they say like, oh, thank you for like, you know, like providing this information, like we're grateful for that because that's why we do it, or else it wouldn't be the same. So it's just the same thing as being grateful for them helping you and providing you support, because it'll go on with our next tip because it's not really one-sided either.
Right.
Yeah.
Number 4, it's not one-sided. So try to repay the favor. So you're healing physically, you're healing mentally, and now your capacity to help others grows. And so because you're nice and like peaceful because you just meditated and you ate a great meal and your blood sugar is stable because you had protein, turn around and try to do the same, reciprocate that support to your partner.
Well, that your partner might have, you know, issues. Like obviously it's not one-sided, meaning, you know, like it's not like obviously you may have PCOS, but your partner has other issues that they're dealing with. Like for example, in our relationship, I have like my own issues like with different things, you know, like I've gone through different issues and me and Talian talk about it and we're able to get through it together, and I'm very lucky to have Talian to help me get through it. You know, it's just like she's like one of my like almost like a therapist to me because we're able to talk through things, and then I'm not as like sad about certain things, or like if I'm angry at something, then we're able to talk about it and we're able to get through it together. And I'm like very lucky to have her as that. So you may like be in a similar situation with your like partner. Maybe he is feeling sad or maybe he's feeling angry, and like you may want to be able to talk to him and not just let him be in like a corner and like
because you're too preoccupied with your PCOS symptoms and problems. You know, you kind of can like neglect the people around you, which is understandable at like certain points in your life. But once you become aware of it, you know, pull it together, like wake up, look around, like there are other people with things as well that need support. And that's a partnership. That's a partnership.
It is.
If you like, I'm coming from the approach of, if you don't support my PCOS and you're like laughing at me about it and this is a joke to you that I'm like gaining weight uncontrollably, then you're not being a partner. Like this is not a partnership. There are some people that might say like, oh, he doesn't understand, so I take care of it myself and we don't talk about it and it works for us. So I'm not trying to like bash on anyone. But for me, like if this is a partnership and I have a problem, you have to care. And if you have a problem, I have to care.
Yeah, it's like respect, and like all the 4 tips, like just it's important for a relationship, and you have to combine all these things to make sure it works for both of you. And everybody has different ways. Some relationships you just don't talk about it, and each person does their own thing and everything's fine. That may work for some people, but I feel like for a lot of people, for most relationships, talking about things, getting things between each other, like out in the open, and like is really healthy. Like, I mean, we'll get, like for example, me and Tallinn, when we were dating, and like throughout the first 6 months when we were like talking about PCOS and the different things, talking about it in the open really helps. Like I'm sure a lot of people are worried about, you know, telling their partners about the fertility issues, right?
Yeah, that's a major one, because that's one of the symptoms of PCOS is like for infertility. Yeah. Of course, like I come from a place where I'm really positive about this, and I really think that with PCOS and infertility, you can find a way and work through it and like heal and get pregnant.
I mean, when you told me when we were dating, you were like, oh, when I was about 16 or 15, when I was diagnosed, the doctor told me, oh, like it looks like you may not be able to have children, or you're gonna have a very difficult time having children. And then after you were able to manage your PCOS and like go through diet, lifestyle change, gluten, dairy free, with other stuff, 10 years later you went to the doctor and the doctor said you have a completely healthy uterus, and your ovarian cysts are gone. And you're good.
And you're ovulating like a salmon swimming upstream.
So when you tell me that,
it's a great compliment.
And like, I'm like, wow, like that's so great for you. And I have not a single worry about maybe, oh, what if she's not able to have kids? Or first of all, I love you for who you are, and we were already great together. Like to me, some things are more important than others. But 2, even if maybe you were still in the process of healing it, I would still be there to support you because like
as you figure it out, because
Yeah.
it's a complicated journey.
Exactly.
Hence the podcast where
Yeah.
you're like talking about all the details.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's sure there's fertility things, but there's so much like ways to improve it, and there's like ways to support someone through
Yeah.
it that like
So many
you
testimonials.
can get out of it together so much happier.
We have a whole shared testimonial album for women who have gotten pregnant after managing their blood sugar, you know, treating the underlying issues of their PCOS, losing weight as a result, and getting pregnant and so on. You know, not that you have to lose weight to get pregnant, but like it goes hand in hand.
Yeah. One thing I hate hearing is, oh, I have PCOS, that means I can't have babies. Because that's like so far from being the truth. Like, because it's not like this, oh, you have it, and no, like you can completely like reverse the symptoms and be able to have children and stuff, you know? I'm sure there's maybe like very like acute or like very rough diagnosis that maybe like it's harder.
There's certain situations where it might be harder. Of course, there's other like factors that can play into it.
Yeah.
But I really think that once you investigate it, like you said, and take the time to be, and that's why you need a partner who's like patient and understanding, and let's figure this out together. And you also have to like spearhead the whole mission and be like, yes, I'm going to take care of myself. And then you can get to your goal.
And that's why it's important like to explain it like that, is that, or and to show that you're improving it, is you want to let your partner know like, hey, I have like, you know, these issues, but they're all manageable and they're all reversible, but I have to be able to take care of myself. And that's why it's also important that you support me along the way. That way they know that, and they know that there's like this goal that you're trying to reach together. Right. And it'll be so much more healthier, and you'll both be happier.
I'm a firm believer of this approach.
Yeah.
But I did do a sticker in the DMs. A sticker in the DMs. A sticker on the stories.
On Instagram, on the gram.
Yes. I always ask, you know, a question before we record a podcast so I can see what sisters are saying. And so the question was, what did your partner say when you told him you have PCOS? And I was overwhelmed with the amount of negative responses. Oh, really? Someone even said he laughed. Okay, now let me read. Yeah, it's awful. Let me read some of them. Okay, someone says, quote, "Damn, that sucks," end quote. Who says that?
What are we in, like kinder or like middle school or something?
I don't know. That's not a keeper right there, if you ask me. Someone says, okay, there are some good ones here. He is supporting me a lot. He's a soldier in India. So he is helpful, like your hubby. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's sweet. That's great.
See, even though he's like far away and a soldier, he's like sending his love and support.
Yeah. It's a real man.
Someone says, I've got a supportive mister. He offered to pay half of anything and everything I needed for help.
Oh, that's good.
That's nice. Because, you know, it gets
supporting
expensive.
you financially and getting you through it. That's one great way of helping.
He said we would get through this together, and he was nothing but supportive.
That's I like this one. My husband eats the same food, gluten, dairy-free, and exercises with me, says Victoria. That's a good one, because that's like me right there. Yeah. I'm gluten, dairy-free with you basically like 95% of the time. And, you know, I have no problem with it. I don't even complain. Every freaking dinner, I'm like, I'm having second like courses or like.
You do like my cooking, don't you?
Okay, don't get all
Come on,
jazzy on me right now.
Give me some compliments.
Alright, your foot's good.
Okay.
And exercising too, yeah. We always exercise together. Although I should say, Tillin, that your ratio of working out to me has not been the same.
I know, I've been slacking a little.
Yeah, you usually work out like 4 times a week with me, but lately you've been doing 2. Like 3 or 2. Still 3. I feel like you're maintaining 3, but no, it's okay because
that quarantine got to me. You know? You're just like, you're not always
natural.
In the mood.
Yeah, it happens.
I'll pick it back up next week.
But you've been going on longer walks. I think that's why. You come back from your walk.
That's true.
And you're like, I need to sleep.
So tired. It's like an hour-long walk while I'm on the phone. Of course, I'm not like walking that fast, but still, you're like out walking.
Yeah.
Okay, someone says, not good. More questions on being able to conceive, and it tore me down. Tore you down?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like when someone's really digging into like that issue and they're really asking you questions about it, could be a little bit like that person's just thinking about themselves a little bit too much.
Selfish, yeah.
Instead of thinking about you and your feelings, and like
If
it's
they're not down for the journey, then bounce. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You can be as positive as you want and approach it like, you know what, there's this thing, it's an issue, and I'm going to figure it out. Like, are you there for me? And if he's like, what's the issue? No.
Yeah, or like if he's like stuck on
Go
one
away.
thing and like doesn't really, you just gotta explain to him that it's a process and that nothing is definitive and everything is improvable. So it's a process.
Yeah. Someone says he understood it's a learning process for both of us. And I found out after we got married. So they got married, then she found out. And, he understands and he's learning because it's a learning process.
Yeah.
Yes.
And in this case, like they've been together for a while. They got married. So he like loves her. He truly cares for her. So for that reason, I believe he will like go through with her like no matter what, right? Because when you know someone for like that amount of time and like they just like no matter what happens, you're gonna help them. Like,
you married the person. Like obviously you're in it to win it. Like
that doesn't mean trick this person. Don't tell them for like 2 years and then tell them. I'm not saying that. Don't do that. That's not fair to that person either. You have to tell them.
When you know, tell them and test them. This is a good test.
Yeah, it's good to know before you get married for you because you want to make sure you're with a supportive person too, right?
Totally.
Yeah, but no, it's good.
Okay, I feel like we've covered enough of that. It makes me so mad. Like when I saw the negative ones, I was like gonna reply to them and be like, dump him.
That's just the game of dating, like nobody, like how many people marry the first person or like stay with that person, the first person they get together with, right. Obviously, we're not the first person we each dated. We're not high school sweethearts or something. I mean, I wish it could have been. I'm sure you would have liked that. But it's just, like people learn. Not that there's anything wrong with high school sweethearts. It's just people learn through relationships, right? You learn through your first couple of bad ones that, I'm not going to do that again. Yeah. And you learn from the good ones and stuff. And like you end up hopefully finding someone that truly is the person right for you. It's a process.
Supportive through sickness and in health.
Yeah,
right?
So that's why if you meet someone and they're not really respecting you and your PCOS, it's okay to move on and find somebody else if you feel like that person is not the person for you. Right. There's a whole like different variety of factors, so don't feel like you're stuck with a person because you don't have options or something. It's just like with everything we've told you, like learn about all the different options out there and see like if you can improve on everything.
And don't let him, oh my gosh, so now that you said that, I remembered someone in the sisterhood messaging about commenting in the chat forum like, my partner cheated on me because of like me not being able to be a good partner because of my PCOS symptoms, and like we got in this fight, but like now we're going to therapy and like he wants to be back together and so on. And then in the end it just like didn't work out because in the end, like he just wasn't there for her through thick and thin and whatnot.
I see.
And I guess sometimes it could work, but like if you're not there for the ride in the day one, and if you're not like, communicative, like your PCOS is getting in the way, like before you cheat and stuff like that, then I doubt that you're going to be there like day 365 when you're like trying to have a baby.
Being clear, that first step is so important. Communication is so important. Just talk it out loud. That way you're going to avoid a lot of bad things. Or you're going to avoid a lot of deterioration in the relationship. If you just talk it out in the beginning, don't let things ferment, don't let things get stuck inside your chest and like you think about it in your head for days and then it just blows up. These things happen in every relationship. Talking is really important. That's what works for me and Tallinn. Is communication.
We
and
talk
talking
all the time.
We really do. We talk our butts off. We'll brainstorm at 12 a.m. in the bed. It's just like, you just want to.
I'm so annoying. At 12 o'clock, I'll be like, let's brainstorm.
Yeah. Okay.
I did ask a question in the stories after this one, and I asked, what should you do if your partner isn't supportive? I haven't looked at the answers yet. Okay. I'm looking at them right now. Someone says self-motivation. So just motivate yourself instead of like expecting the partner to motivate you. Or just keep going for your own sake. Your body will not wait for anyone to start healing. Oh my gosh, that's a good one.
Someone said make sure your next partner is supportive.
Where? What?
Right here.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. Simple. Make sure your next partner. Okay, someone says, but seriously, take the time to explain and understand. They may not get it overnight. That's so true. You know, really take this episode and gather some info and try to be as...
I like Paige. Yeah. What Paige's answer? Tell that boy bye. Leave him, sister, says Brandy. I'm just reading all the ones that says dump.
Someone says, just manage it on my own. I don't know. Like, do you want to be in a relationship where... Whatever. Someone says gluten-free, dairy-free, weak-ass man-free.
That's good. Weak-ass man-free.
Dump them. Amen, sister.
Yeah.
Stop caring what they think. Don't talk to them about PCOS or just break up and focus on yourself. Amen.
Yeah, don't let the person bring you down. They're either going to support you or they're either going to respect you or that's that, right?
Yeah.
Either support, either respect and like make sure you don't do anything to worsen it. Or just like, I mean...
Yeah, someone's like, is it worth being with someone who isn't willing to help you through the bad and the good? Seriously.
Yeah.
This is not the worst thing that's going to happen to you in life.
Very true.
I'm sorry. Like,
very true.
We have a long life to live.
That's a good and a bad thing. PCOS is not the worst thing to happen to you. That's a good thing, right? The
Yeah.
bad thing is there's going to be other stuff that happens to you.
Not to sound negative.
But also, like, PCOS is just like that person just said, right? You have to be able to go through the good and bad in a relationship, right? Mm-hmm. So the PCOS is one of those bad things. Just like that other person will have one of their bad things. It's just like if you can't go through the good and bad things in a relationship together, then to me, that's a warning that things might not be kosher.
Someone says, let him be. He's not supposed to be everything for you. Get your support from your friends.
That's true too. But to me, that's true if he at least respects you and is able to give you the space to self-care and you to be who you are with your PCOS. If he's not giving that to you and he's not respecting you, then yeah, maybe it's not okay.
Gonna work, yeah.
But if he's at least
like, I don't know, and he kind of like throws his hands up but lets you do your thing, I can see.
Like he doesn't like get in the way of you taking care of yourself,
and
he actually babe, why don't you go do so and so. Like maybe he's not involved, but he's at least pushing you. That's still okay too to me, you know. Like that person has a point. He doesn't have to be perfect.
Right. He doesn't have to eat gluten and dairy free with you.
Yeah.
But as long as he's respectful of your journey.
Look, I have turned the ship around.
It's true. But when I read it, I was like, I don't know, because, you know, he should be like on board in some way. But I can see what you're saying, how you're phrasing it. It makes sense.
We're going to get a lot of sisters turning to their misters and being like, so I listened to this podcast. You need... We're gonna get like a bunch of like podcast reviews like I was bombarded by my wife.
This would be a great episode to share.
But just a forewarning, I should say. Try not to listen to this episode and like be like going to your partner or your loved one and being like, hey, like I just listened to this and I feel like you should don't go hard in the paint. You know, he's gonna feel like he's being attacked if he hasn't felt like he's done enough. Go slow.
Like step one of our tips. Be clear. Yeah. Tell them what you need.
Listening to this together would be a great start, and in a positive way, not in like a way of like, okay, let's stop everything we're doing and stop and listen to this. No, like, oh, maybe you have a drive happening. You're gonna drive for 30 minutes. Pop this one and listen on your drive. It's a good way to get things going and then listen to it later again. So it's just like slowly introducing. Don't bombard him with like you know, all these things.
You know your partner better than us. How would this person be receptive to you?
And like put yourself in their shoes. If you were in their shoes and somebody was gonna come up to you and explain PCOS, like how would you want them to explain to you? So think of it like that. Alrighty.
Well, now that we've been your cheerleader for 30 minutes.
Yeah. So
the win?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just interrupted you.
What did you want to say?
No, I was just gonna like recap what we just said. Like
recap it, bro.
I'm too much under pressure now. Okay, let's skip that.
All right, so let's read the win for this week. This one's a really nice one. Do you want to read it?
Sure. Okay. Hey, Tallinn and Sirak. I had to message you both to say thank you. I'm so glad I found you guys. I've been struggling with PCOS for 14 years. I was diagnosed very young at 14 years old and have struggled most of my life with my weight. I've tried countless diets, joined the gym going 4 times a week, doing 2-hour sessions, wondering why my weight never ever budged. Listening to your advice makes so much sense. I finally feel like there's light at the end of the tunnel. I've been gluten and dairy free for 4 weeks now, thanks to you both. I'm no longer bloated. I've dropped the dress size and my acne has cleared up. It's incredible. I'm so excited to carry on with this lifestyle change and have you both to thank for it. Love you guys. Keep up the amazing work.
We're so happy for
Great
you.
job, sister. Everything too, like it's not just losing
the
weight,
dress size,
but
the bloating.
Yeah, the acne clearing up. These are all things that are like these pillars of symptoms with PCOS that you just hate to like not seeing progress. But like through diet change, lifestyle, gluten dairy free,
from the root of the issue. I'm sure this is really helping with lowering her insulin levels and testosterone and the whole thing. Makes the science behind everything.
Makes me so happy, honestly.
We're really happy for you.
One of my favorite things is to read testimonials on the podcast. I feel like we should do it more often. Put one at the beginning, put one at the end, put one in the middle. I just love reading them because it's so positive and very motivating, even to me.
We get so many, and I feel like I'm cluttering the Instagram stories by posting all of them at once every day. So I do it once a week or twice a week and so on. Yeah. And sometimes I'm scared that it's going to deter, not motivate people, but make them feel bad, But I think that if you come to it with a motivational approach,
it's inspiring.
This can be you. This can be everyone who's listening right now.
Yeah, I agree.
You got this, girl.
Yeah, you guys got this. Really, you can do it. You can overcome PCOS and do you.
Yes.
With your boo.
And send us a message. Tell us how you're doing, and you can be the next win on the end of our podcast.
Yes. All right, everyone. That's the end of this episode. We hope you liked it. You can follow us on PCOS.weightloss and A Cyster and Her A Cyster and Her Mister, not mistress, on Instagram. And leave us subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. We always like to read the reviews and see how people are liking it.
Yes.
Alrighty, take care, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come check out The Sisterhood. It's my monthly membership site where sisters just like you are learning how to move through the stages of PCOS. From stage 1, cold and alone at the doctor's office, to stage 5, nailing the PCOS lifestyle, gluten and dairy free. Get ready to finally feel in control of your body again.